Okay, the zeroth power. One of the questions that I get asked sometimes is how come when we raise something to the 0 power it always equals 1? Well, first let's consider what exponents are. 3 times 3 is 3 squared, or 3 raised to the 2nd power. 3 times 3 times 3 is 3 to the 3rd power, because I'm multiplying 3 3 times. If I multiply 3 4 times, it's 3 to the 4th power. Well, those represent real numbers. So if I have a fraction, in other words, 3 squared is 9, 3 cubed is 27, and 3 to the 4th power is 81. If I have a fraction, 81 over 9, we know that 81 divided by 9 is 9. But 81 is the same as 3 to the 4th power. Likewise, 9 is the same as 3 squared. So I could rewrite 81 over 9 as 3 to the 4th power over 3 squared. Now, what happens is I have 3 3's in the top and 2 3's on the bottom, and so I will cancel 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, but we can use a shortcut that represents the same thing. In other words, I can rewrite 3 to the 4th power over 3 squared using a shortcut, and that will give me the answer. How do I write that? Well, since I'm going to cancel 2 3's on the top and 2 3's on the bottom, it's the same as saying 3 raised to the 4 minus 2. Now what that means is I'm going to be left with 2 on the top. Now the reason that we use the minus sign is because we're dividing. And because we're dividing, we're going to take the first power and subtract the second power from it. That leaves us with 3 squared, which is equal to 9. So one way to look at 81 over 9 is to say it's 3 to the 4th power over 3 squared, which is the same as 9. Or another way to look at it is 3 raised to the 4 minus 2, which is 3 squared, and that also equals 9. Now the next thing that I'd like for you to consider is, as soon as I can spell the word consider, okay, good. What about 100 over 100? Well, that's going to equal 1, because 100 divided by 100 is 1. But if I use that same shortcut that I just used with the powers or exponents, I could think of this as 10 squared, because 10 squared is the same as 10 times 10, which equals 100, over 10 squared. Well, if I use that same shortcut, I have 10 raised to the 2 minus 2, which is 10 to the 0 power, which equals 1. That's why 10 to the 0 power equals 1. So now I'm wondering, if I were to do this again with a different number, would I get the same result? Well, 3 over 3 equals 1, but if I think of 3 over 3 as 3 to the 1st power over 3 to the 1st power, I would say 3 raised to the 1 minus 1 is equal to 3 raised to the 1 minus 1 is the same as 3 to the 0 power, which equals 1. Again, whenever I take something and raise it to the 0 power, it equals 1. In fact, anything raised to the 0 power is going to equal 1. Anything that I could possibly think of, if I raise it to the 0 power, it'll equal 1. Actually, there is one exception. But for most numbers, it's always going to equal 1. If I were to take a smiley face and raise that to the 0 power, that would equal 1. Oops, I wrote this down wrong. A smiley face raised to the 0 power is equal to 1. Let's practice some numbers and you tell me what you think it'll be. So guess the following. 1 raised to the 0 power, 2 raised to the 0 power, 3 raised to the 0 power, and this really huge gigantic number raised to the 0 power. Or 1/10 raised to the 0 power. All of these are going to equal 1. If I have x raised to the 0 power equals 1, and y raised to the 0 power also equals 1.